Good afternoon. Welcome to the SOV LINC for Supervisors and Managers webinar. My name is Amy Rogers, and I'm the trainer for the Center for Achievement in Public Service, which falls under the Department of Human Resources.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, sorry about that. Welcome to the webinar for SOV LINC for Supervisors and Managers. My name is Amy Rogers, and I'm a trainer for the Center for Achievement in Public Service under the Department of Human Resources. This webinar will provide you with some basic navigational tools and understanding of SOV LINC. And for those who don't know, LINC stands for Lead, Innovate, Navigate, Connect. In addition, we'll also provide information connected to your work as a supervisor and manager and some of the cool functionality that exists in the system for supervisors and managers. So what this is, it's a new learning management system for the state of Vermont. AOT, Agency of Transportation, implemented this system a few months ago for their employees, and AHS and DPS will implement for their teams by the end of the year. So the system is the same across the state. The implementation teams are just working on getting data that they have on employees into the system, and also they'll have a different interface when you log in, or a different welcome page. We have announced our go live schedule for the system. We do start our go live on Monday the 10th, and the go live schedule is spread out from the 10th to the 20th. So on various days throughout that, every other day for the first week, and then every day, we are bringing on different teams of people or different groups, agencies, departments. So to figure out where it is that your team lies in there, please go to our website, the CAPS website, which I'll show you at the end of this, which will give you information on that. What I do ask is I'm running this webinar solo, so if you do have any questions, and I really appreciate the questions, it helps me figure out what people need to know as well as what other folks in this webinar might need to know. Please type them into the question area, and because I'm running this solo, I'll just answer those at the very end. I also encourage you to have open or available the handout for supervisors and managers that we had on the website that's also attached as a handout to this webinar. I'm going to be going through pieces of that, so if you want to kind of follow along with screenshots, that might be helpful for you. So this page that I have open to right now is our login page. So this will be the same for everyone across the state. After here is when things will get a little bit different depending upon what agency or department you work for. On the day that your agency or department goes live, everyone in there will receive an email. That email will have a link to our site, information about logging in, like what your username would be, as well as a password. And then once people log in, they'll be prompted to change their password to something that is unique to them. So I'm going to start with our test user, Franklin Armstrong. You'll see in the blue box, or next to this blue box, there's an option if people forget their password. If they click on that, it'll bring up some security questions that they were asked to input at the very beginning of their login process. And if they need to reset their password, we're directing them to VTHR Help Desk for that purpose. So once I log in, you'll see our welcome page. So this welcome page is open right now to everybody but AOT, and once DPS and AHS go live, you will have a different welcome page, a different landing area. So I'm going to go through some basics around what this page looks like, what's on it, and all the features. So first up here, this blue bar up here, we're calling our navigation bar or navigation tab. You'll notice if you hover over things rather than click on them, you'll get drop-down boxes. So under Home, we have Welcome, which will bring you back to this welcome page no matter where you are in the system, and Universal Profile. We'll talk more about Universal Profile later. Then under Learning, you can view your transcript. So you can see at any point in time classes you've registered for, classes you've already completed, classes that have things that you still need to do for them. An events calendar, which shows all of the trainings we have coming up on a calendar outlook, so to speak, so that you can see where they fall. You can also browse for training. So one of the great features of this system, which is through Cornerstone On Demand, is that you have various places in the system where you can do the same thing. So browse for training you can do here. You can also browse for training by clicking on the Browse All Classes button, as well as typing into the search bar the classes you're looking for. So it gives people different options. And then the last piece on here is Manage Employee Learning. As a supervisor or manager, you have different access in the system than users do. So you can see your entire team, see all of the trainings they've registered for. You can see trainings that they may have withdrawn from or no-showed or canceled. You can also assign trainings to your team. So we'll talk about all of those pieces as we go along. Also, as a manager, you have access to reports. So you can run reports on your team and your employees. We'll give you a little info about that. And then the dashboards area is where you can set up some reports that you run often and have a dashboard of those reports at any point in time. And then the last one is Contact Us. So this is for CAPS. So this provides information on how you can contact us here at CAPS. Especially as we go live, this may be really useful. So here's our email address. So we're asking people to email us if they have questions. Then we also have our address, especially if you have trainings over here, contact information, our website, and then as well as access to our social media outlets for DHR. So if we go back to our main page, here in the main area, it has a personalized welcome message. So it says, welcome Franklin. That's who I'm logged in as. And then a little blurb about SOV LINC. Below here, we have the announcements area. This area is where we will post information as new systems go live, new agencies and departments go live. With this system, we can also offer trainings across the state. So say AHS wants to offer a training to everyone across the state, it would be listed here. And if people search for it and it's made available to them, they'll be able to register for it. Next to this, we have 4 buttons. And so these buttons direct you to different areas. So as I said, the Browse All Classes button directs you to being able to browse for classes. The second button, Supervisory Training, opens up a page about our SSG training as well as our Stepping Up to Supervision class that we offer here at CAPS through Department of Human Resources, and then SSG 1 and 2. We also have a button on the VCPM or Vermont Certified Public Manager program. If people are interested in that, and once it is made active, there'll be an application here attached to this button for people to fill out. And then the final button is the Consulting and Custom Trainings button. So if you click on this, it provides information on the consulting services we offer here at CAPS, the coaching, as well as custom training. So if there's a training on here that you don't see that you would like for your team, you can fill out that form and contact us and we can come and provide it for you. And then underneath that are 3 boxes that we call widgets. The first is the new trainings just added. So this is a box where we will be marketing trainings, telling you about trainings that are coming up, new sessions that have been added, things that might be we think people might be interested in. My inbox, so this is where you'll see your transcript, which will show what classes that you have coming up. And for managers, where you can approve training. So one of the new features of this system is that whenever a user goes into the system to request a training, they click a button that says request. That request will go through the system and send an email to their supervisor or manager. So as a manager/supervisor, we ask that you stay on top of those emails and go in and approve those trainings as those emails come through. So really important. And if you can't approve those emails, that you contact us or let your supervisee know what's going on so we can figure out how to manage that piece. You can also, as I said, not only approve, but you can also deny training. So we'll talk more about that. And you should know that the way that our system is set up, we get a data feed from VTHR on a daily basis. And so that's where we get the information in here about active employees, positions, titles, supervisors. So once we go live, if any of that information is incorrect, we can't change it through the LMS. That has to be changed through VTHR. So we're going to be directing folks to talk to their HR administrator around, or their HR field staff around fixing that in VTHR, since that's something, if we change it in the system, it's just going to be overridden the next day. And then the final box is my upcoming trainings. So this is an area where you will see trainings that are coming up for you or your team will see coming up for them. So if you assign a training to your team, it'll pop up in this box that they need to attend. We also now with our system can push out trainings to people. So for SSG, for instance, for those people who haven't taken it yet, that will show up in your My Upcoming Training box as a training that you're going to need to take. And it'll have like a due date whenever our mandate is up next year. Okay, great. So now let's look a little bit. Let's browse for some trainings. So if we go over to Learning, as I said, there's 3 ways. You can go to Learning, you can go to Browse All Classes, and you can also type it in the search bar. So if we browse for Learning, browse for training, it'll bring up all of the trainings that we have available here. Now Bob Ross, this is my training part of the site, so we don't have a Bob Ross Joy of Painting video, although some of us might like that. This is just in the training portion of the site, but everything looks the same in the live environment. So here we have 3 different types. There are more than that, but right now we have 3 different types of trainings available. We have videos, which are represented by this play icon. We have materials, which are handouts, worksheets, articles, those kinds of things, represented by the little folder in the disk. And then the final one are our events, which are represented by this little calendar. And those are instructor-led trainings that we'll have available. So now let's say we want to attend one of these instructor-led trainings. There's a whole slew of them in here. So I'm going to go to the Art and Science of Facilitating Peer Interactions. So when I click on that, it provides me with 2 options. I can request that training or I can assign it. So when I request it, down at the bottom, it'll show the available sessions. So if we have multiple sessions available, it'll show all of them. It provides you the location, the duration, who's presenting the training, how long it is, and then how many openings are available. So if you wanted to request that, you would hit the request button. And now when I request this training, it will bring me back to my transcript. It'll say that it's in request, and then it'll send an email to my supervisor to approve it. So until your supervisor approves it, you will not be registered. The other thing we can do as a manager is assign a training. So best practice, we ask that managers have a conversation with their team around the reasoning and what training they're assigning them before they do so. So if you click Assign, and it'll bring up a box with your team in it. So Franklin has 2 subordinates, Charlie Brown and Peppermint Patty. And Franklin can select a session if he'd like. Right now we only have 1 available. You can select one. So you can say you want all of your team to go to this 1 session, or that your team you want them to go to the training. It doesn't matter what session. You can create a due date for when you want them to attend this training by. You can add some comments about why you're assigning it or what your expectations are. And then at the bottom here, you can click this box. So if I wanted to just send it to all my direct subordinates, I can click this box and all of those would get an email that they need to attend and it would go in their My Upcoming Training box. If I only wanted to send it to 1 or 2, I would click the one or, which ones I wanted to send it to. You can also click this box that says automatically registered users. Looks like it's not enabled for this training. But if you do click that, then users will automatically be registered and you won't get an email that you need to register or, approve the request. Okay. So I'm going to cancel that, but that's an option that managers have to assign trainings to their staff. The other piece of this is that when you need to approve a training, so if we go back to this page, it shows that I have 2 training requests to approve. So I'm going to click on this Approve Training box. So on here it shows Charlie Brown signed up for 2 different trainings, Got Challenges and Coaching Essentials. So over on the right, there are a few options that I have. I have a checkbox. If I check that, it means the training is approved. I have the X, that means I'm denying it. We also ask supervisors and managers to talk to their team if they are going to deny a training so that their team is aware of it before they get this notification that it's been denied. And then we have this little arrow. The arrow is for defer. Right now, that functionality is not enabled in our system. So if you click that, it's not going to do anything. So right now, we just have approve and deny as options. Okay. So that's how you would approve or deny trainings as a supervisor. So now I'm going to go over to our universal profile. So if we click on the picture in the corner, you may notice or recognize Mr. Franklin Armstrong as Vince Vaughn. As I said before, the information in here, so the title, the department, the email, those are all that's all information that comes from VTHR. And this is the only information, in addition to email and location, that will be populated from VTHR. So if any of that is incorrect, please refer folks to the HR admin for your group. Underneath that, you will see a summary. So you can click on this little pencil and type in a summary of whatever it is that you know about your professional experience and knowledge. You can also choose subjects. So if you click on this pencil, it'll bring up a bunch of subject areas that you can choose that may be particular to interest areas or experience. And then underneath that, you see your team. So we have Lucy is Franklin's supervisor, and then Franklin supervises Charlie Brown and Peppermint Patty. If Lucy goes in, she'll see who her supervisor is and the subordinates underneath Franklin, as well as any other people she might supervise. And then if Peppermint Patty goes in, Peppermint Patty will see themselves and the people that are above them. So it's a way to kind of get a glimpse of your team, and I'll show you in a little bit how you can put in pictures. So this is the bio page, as I said. If you click over up on the right corner, the My Team button, you can also find people this way. So if I were to click on Charlie Brown and Peppermint Patty, it would bring up information about them, their bio page and transcript and such. And this little button here means that this person also is a direct report or has subordinates that they supervise as well. So if I go back over to the other side of the universal profile, we have the transcript page. So as I said earlier, the transcript page is where you have information connected to trainings that are currently active, trainings that you have to do something with, like select a session, such as the Gut Challenges training. From here, you can also withdraw from a training. So if you click the View Training Details, a little arrow next to it, it gives you the option to withdraw. And we really encourage people to withdraw from trainings if they can't make it so that we have spots available. If you do click on withdraw, it brings a box up where you need to select a reason, type in comments, and submit. And then that gets attached to our roster, and the status would then change for that training to withdrawn from registered. And then we have, so this is just the active trainings. If we click on this arrow, we can also look at the completed trainings. The completed training shows the ones that have already been done. And from here, you can also print out certificates. So if you click View Certificate, it'll print out a certificate that has that training in there, the number of hours, the date it was completed on, and it has our CAPS logo here. Up in the upper right corner, you'll also see My Team. So you could look at the transcript for the other members of your team. And as a user, you can also print out a transcript of your completed trainings. You could export it to a PDF as well. And another option that the system offers is adding external trainings. So if somebody wanted to add in an external training, say they took something over the weekend that had to do with being a supervisor, or some computer class they took that was connected to the state but not, this is where you would add those trainings. This does not include trainings you took through Knowledge Wave or FirstNet. Those are trainings that we're going to be loading into the system. And right now we're in the process of choosing another online provider that will have all of their trainings in our system. It'll be a whole huge plethora of trainings that will be available once we get that group chosen. So on the Add External Training page, we just need the title, a description if necessary, the institution or the provider of the training, the dates, any credits or hours, and then proof of completion. People must attach some sort of certificate of completion. in order to be considered for having us approve it. Right now, these approvals are going to come to me as the system administrator as well as the other people in our office to approve. In the future, that process may change. We ask that people don't submit like college transcripts and those kind of things because that's a little bit more information than what we want to put in the system. We're looking for things that are more directly related to their work and that they're taking, currently. Anything that they had in VTHR before is still there. That's not going anywhere. And you'll notice when we go live, you won't see all of your training records in there from the beginning of time. It didn't make sense to load in all of those records. So we have loaded things for the past couple of years. AOT, I believe, has loaded a lot more, and I think AHS and DPS are doing their own decisions around that. So if there's any trainings that people are looking for, they still exist in VTHR. That's not going anywhere. Okay. So we talked about universal profile. So now let's go to My Account. So if you click on the little gear next to the picture and universal profile, and I'll bring up this page. So this is where people can change their pictures or add pictures. So if you hover over the picture, it brings down this little arrow, and it gives you the option to either add one. We already have one, so now it gives us change or delete. We ask that people put in appropriate professional headshots as their pictures, just to kind of give some framework around that. Here you can also write if you're on vacation and choose a signature. These functions right now don't really do anything in the system. They're for functionality that we may have in the future. People can still choose it. I just ask if they choose if they're on vacation, make sure you unclick it when you get back. And then in the options area, you can change your password if you'd like. You can edit the security questions that were created at the very beginning, and you can also share your permissions. So the share permissions functionality was just enabled, so it's not in the handout. And so we're working on this a little bit just so you're all aware. This will, in the future, be able to provide supervisors the option to share their permissions with somebody so that somebody else could approve a training for them if they're out, or if they wanted somebody else, or subordinate or somebody they work with, to be able to run reports and such. So at this point in time, I would say don't use this functionality until we are able to put something out there to supervisors, but I wanted to make sure you were aware if you came across that, what it was. Okay, also up on the universal profile is the help function. So if you click help at any point in time, at any place in the system, it'll bring you to the help functions for Cornerstone On Demand, which is the company that provides our software. And it'll give you a whole list of things around navigation, what to do, how to use things. So we encourage people to use the help function. It's a really great feature of the system and really allows people to kind of have a better grasp about what they're doing and what they can do in the system. So the last piece for managers that are specific to managers are reports. So let's go to the standard reports piece. So in the reports area, and on, I believe it's page 16 of your handout, we have different screenshots of the reports. Here we go, yes. So you can run a report that shows the no-shows. So if one of your staff doesn't show up to a training, you can run a report on that. The system will also generate an email so you know if somebody doesn't show up to a training. Any training that's past due for your employees that they haven't completed yet. Any past requests that you might have to approve or deny, as well as pending requests that are current. You can run reports on records such as transcripts and other data for employees. You can look and see who's withdrawn from sessions. The progress pie chart shows a really cool pie chart of your employees and what trainings they have or have not completed and where they are in the process. There's also a status summary showing classes that people haven't started or in progress of. And then there's a transcript report where you can see the trainings that your team has completed all in one report. So there's some really great features connected to the system that are directly related to supervisory functionality. So, Okay, so I'm going to look at some of the questions that people have in here. When you print your training history, will that also include the external training that has been added to the system? Yes, it will. That external training actually goes onto your transcript, so you'll be able to see it once it's approved. And I think they have it in like a pending status until it is approved. And we're going to try to do a quick turnaround on those external training requests. Just keep in mind while we go live, there's going to be a whole bunch of other things that we're going to be somewhat managing and juggling, so that might take a little while, but we will be responding to those as quickly as possible. If there's any other questions that people have, please feel free to type them in the question area. So, okay, let's see. The very back page of the handout has information on troubleshooting. There are some pop-ups that come from this system, especially if you're opening a video or what have you. So we have information on how to work with the pop-up blocker. Also, if you're running reports or if you're doing any transcript stuff that connects to Excel, we've had some issues with printing documents since we have Office 365. So this tells you on the back page how to fix that problem. And then if there's any other information or any other questions that you have, you can feel free to reach out to us. dhr.caps is the easiest way to get a hold of us. So during live, we're going to be triaging questions as they come in, so that's the easiest way to get your question answered quickly. I'm also going to show you our website. So you probably all got the HR Connect information, which is how you found out about the webinar. So we have a page just devoted to SOV LINC. So on here, it has information about the system and some of the cool functionality. It has webinars, as you all know. So I would encourage you to encourage your team to sign up for these webinars. We're also going to have a recording of the webinars on the website, as well as the handouts are also there. And then this right here shows you the rollout plan starting October 10th for the different agencies and when your agency or department will go live. And as I said below here at the bottom, you'll see the handouts, and then the two webinars for users and managers will also be here. So another question that came up in the earlier webinar was if your agency or department or you yourself wanted to add a training to the site, how do you go about doing that? So we encourage you to contact us, dhr.caps@vermont.gov, and we can help you load in a training. And if your agency or department is interested in having your own landing page and implementation, please contact us as well and we can help you with that. There may also be training records that you have out there that you might want uploaded in. Let us know and we'll talk with you about how we can make that happen. As a supervisor or manager, we also just ask that you kind of build some excitement with your team around this. This is a really cool feature and a really great system that the state is invested in using. And it's a really wonderful tool for professional and career development of our staff. And it only will be as cool as the number of people who use it. So if it sits out there and people don't use it, it won't be as helpful. So do what you can to build some excitement and interest and encourage your team to use the system as they can. Okay, let's see. Is there any other questions that people have? It doesn't look like it. What we're also going to do is take these questions that managers are asking and people are asking, and we're in the process of building an FAQ document that will also live on the site. So if people have, I would refer folks there if they have additional questions around things, or send them to us, dhr.caps@vermont.gov. So I thank you very much for attending. It was only half an hour, so hopefully it doesn't take too much out of your day. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day and afternoon. Thanks so much for attending. Bye-bye.